The big story is the rhetoric on between Iran and Washington about the oil sanctions. What's the reading coming back from the holiday and oil prices now hitting another new highs in the new year?
Yes, like you said, we saw the price of Brent increase by about 3% to $74.5 per barrel. And that was due to reports of U.S. trying to end the sanction waivers it gave to about 8 countries that patronize Iran oil. So that put a pressure on the market, on oil prices, and we saw prices increased this morning. So with the increase in price, with the announcement, we expect that there might be a disruption in global supply of oil. And if this happens, price could continue to increase in the near term. So what does this mean for Nigeria? So we saw that 2 of the countries that were affected are Nigeria's biggest oil clients. We have China, we have India. India accounts for about 32.4% of Nigeria's total exports, while China accounts for about 6.1%. So we could see a shift in demand from Iran to Nigeria. And if this happens, this is good news for Nigeria. We could see the government revenue from oil increase. We could also see external reserve accretion in the next couple of days. But this might just be a short-term move. So it is important that we take opportunity of this at this point in time.
Yes. No, we're already taking it because our budget 2019 is about $61 a barrel. Yeah. This is $74 a barrel for June contracts. That's good news for Nigeria. We're close to $20 above close to $15 above our budget. So that's good news for Abuja as we speak. But again, if you look at how China and Iran and India will play this, some analysts say, look, China is going to be stubborn. You can't do nothing to me. That's what they're going to, Beijing's likely to tell Washington. But then Donald Trump is beginning to now, being a little bit cozy, as it were, with OPEC, saying, well, Saudi Arabia will provide us supplies. So if you guys, in Tehran, like you can shut the Strait of Hormuz, you can do whatever, we will look up to OPEC. So you think now the ball is in OPEC's court ahead of the meeting in May and June. And with Kachiku in Saudi Arabia, this is a good time for OPEC and Nigeria to lock this in.
Yeah, though it is possible for Saudi Arabia to increase oil output, and if this happens, it could help to taper the effect on oil prices. But in the short term, the shock will still be there. We still expect this to disrupt the market in the short term, and we expect at least in the next couple of weeks, prices are still expected to keep increasing. I'm
sure OPEC members will try to take advantage of this as quickly as they can before the geopolitics change again and prices begin to head downwards. So, but beyond this big oil story in crude oil, what else do you guys think are the big stories for the domestic consumers here?
Yes, another burning issue is the minimum wage, which was signed into law by the president last week, Thursday. So with the implementation of this minimum wage, we expect consumers' disposable income to increase. That will increase their purchasing power. But it is important to know that an increase in minimum wage without an increase in productivity could be inflationary. So it is important that labor productivity is improved. In the last 5 years, Nigeria's labor productivity has been in the negative region. So it is important that we invest in human capital in order to increase productivity, output will increase, and that will be able to taper the inflationary effect of the wage increase. Apart from this, we saw that the malaria innovative test will be implemented in Malawi today, and in Ghana and Kenya in the coming weeks. So with this, we expect that there's a positive relationship between health and productivity. So when you're in a healthy condition, then you tend to work more, your productivity increases. So with this vaccine in place, we expect to see an improvement in productivity, and that is actually good for output.
If we fix healthcare, that goes into our GDP. Yeah, that goes into our per capita income. That goes into our productivity per hour, per whatever. So it's everybody's benefit. Yes. The government benefits, the people benefits, wealth is increased. So that's why they say health is wealth.
Wealth. Exactly.
That's an interesting. The palm oil prices is down. The oil palm producers are complaining about smuggling, corruption, bank loans, billions of naira, and they said, look, they have a problem here that they want Mr. President to look into very quickly.
Yes, we've seen the price of oil decline by about 5%. Yeah, the price of palm oil, yeah, declined by about 5% in the last month. At least at our last survey, we saw price declined by from 10,000 naira, the 25 liter of palm oil, from about 10,000 naira per 25 liter to 9,500 naira, and that is due to lower demand. So that local manufacturers have been, they've been raising concerns about the fact that this was due to increase in smuggling. So that will increase output, and as well, demand is also increasing. Definitely, prices are going to decline.
Well, I don't mind oil palm prices coming down because we're increasing local production rather than the smugglers are filling in, making us a paradise. I don't want this market to be a smuggler's paradise. I think it's time to close that for them and make it a paradise for domestic producers. But let's look at kola nut production in Nigeria. Sometimes when local folks think about kola nut, sometimes they just think about those who just chew it by the roadside. But this looks like a multi-million-dollar business. Is it? Bring it up. Does it?
Yes, kola nut is a commodity that is, it is widely consumed in ceremonies across Nigerian tribes, most especially the Igbos and Yorubas. So it is produced mainly in the southwest, but consumed in the north. So currently, global production is about 272,000 tons, and Nigeria accounts for about 52% of global production. So apart from the fact that it is used in ceremonies, we also see students close to exam, they take this commodity, to stay awake in the night to read.
You did?
I don't.
I did. I did, because it has caffeine.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
So which makes it interesting when you look at the health benefit and you look at the companies, some of the companies that use kola nut. If you look at Nigerian breweries and Guinness as two big industries in Nigeria, if you just flip that page over in production and you just see these are two companies that that uses a kola nut domestically from industrial point of view rather than day-to-day consumption.
Yes, from industrial point of view, we have companies such as Coca-Cola, Nigerian breweries, and Guinness uses...
Coca-Cola?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, it does. But it's just that Coca-Cola is not listed. So we have Nigerian breweries and we have Guinness. And what we've noticed is that...
Kola nut in Coca-Cola?
Yes,
and that's
because
news.
of the caffeine.
I'm in the business of news, but I'm shocked.
Yeah, Coca-Cola also uses it. So now we have Nigerian breweries, we have Guinness. So what we're saying is that though the revenue of these companies have declined, at least in 2018, we saw the revenue of Nigerian brewery decline by about 4%, while H1 2018, we saw revenue of Guinness decline by about 3%.
Oh, I see that. For me, just a second. I see that at the bottom of the page of the screen there. You guys cleverly put it somewhere down there. Product with kola nut content for Nigerian breweries is Star XXX. That's an alcoholic beverage. I'm not going to say anything more than that. Then the far bottom right, you find the product with kola nut content is Origin, which is also alcoholic, by Guinness. I'm going to keep quiet on that as well. I can't say anything about alcoholic drink at this time of the day. I don't want to run foul of the law. But you folks can see where kola nut is in the mix of production. The Coca-Cola is the one I'm going to try and find out. I'm just going to ask Google.
Okay.
After this. So, whatever we think, we could see more companies actually using kola nut, maybe because they're not listed on the exchange, they could be using. For those who produce products that are rivals to Origin, for example, Nigerian breweries has a product like that. Yeah. They have a number of indigenous companies, so they're likely using kola nuts.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
So,
but for now, since most of these companies are not quoted, we cannot really talk about their performances. That's why we are limiting this to just Nigerian breweries and Guinness.
Very interesting. So let's finish back with the oil price, because oil is always sweet. It's called sweet crude.
Especially for Nigeria. Especially for Nigeria.
Especially for Nigeria, where the price is. Where is the outlook? Where are we since we started the year? Brent has been up about 38% year to date, and WTI, which is the U.S. Texas, West Texas Intermediate, about 45%. So it's been a very nice year so far for crude oil.
Yes, it has been, and we also expect this trend to continue. Like I said earlier, at least in the next couple of weeks, we should see prices increasing. But this might just be a short-term outlook. In the medium to long term, we expect market to correct itself, and prices are likely to trend downward. So it is good news for us at this point in time to take advantage of this increase in oil prices.
So what's driving the oil prices right now are basically geopolitics, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Tighten global supply.
But again, despite the fact that U.S. President Trump seems to be extending a handshake to OPEC, I'm sure he has his eyes on U.S. shale production to come in here and fence off Iran and OPEC somewhat, because that's his country's domestic, that's his own oil industry for his own country. Yeah,
it is, and an increase in U.S. shale oil will also help to, drive down global price of oil too. So it's also possible he tries to, increase production of this, because that is also possible.
So you think in the White House right now, President Trump will be thinking of how do I push prices down, because this 74.50 is not good for the U.S.
Yeah, it is very likely.
For U.S. Shale producers, it's not good news for them.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have some smile on this side of the Atlantic, and the folks out there can sort themselves out in Washington. Thank you so much. But we want the oil prices to remain high, around 74.
For Nigeria.
Yeah, you know how the saying goes around here. It shall be permanent.
It shall be permanent.
Yeah, it's okay. But nothing is permanent anyway, everyone. You all know that. The market is always highly volatile. So let's, Fumi Adibawale, thank you so much, a member of the economic think tank at Financial Derivatives Company, flagging off our new Business Week.